Benátky nad Jizerou is a small town in central Bohemia with a population of about 7,400 people. Even so, we would hardly find anyone who has not heard about the city. And it's not just thanks to its famous Italian namesake. At present, this town on the Jizera consists of the following parts: Staré Benátky, Nové Benátky, Obodrž, Kabel, a Dražice. The town of Benátky nad Jizerou boasts a rich history. It originated in the place of ancient settlements and at the crossroads of trade routes. The oldest written mention of Benátky dates from 1052, when the documents mention the village Obodrž. Another credible source mentions the village of Benátky in the year 1259. North of Benátky, Dražice Castle was built before 1264, the remains of which are still preserved on a rocky outcrop above the Jizera River. Jan of Dražice obtained the permission to set up the city of Nové Benátky on a nearby hill before 1346. Before 1349, the Syriac monastery was founded, and the adjacent church of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary was consecrated in the year 1359. The lords of Dražice, whose family line died out around 1390, held the town and surrounding estates, which afterwards had various owners. In the mid-1520s, the Burgrave of Donin settled in Nové Benátky. He then built the Renaissance chateau where once stood a monastery destroyed during the Hussite Wars. In 1599, the Emperor Rudolf II bought the estate, including the town and the chateau. And this enabled the Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe to set up an observatory and meet with his friend and rival Johannes Kepler. In 1647, the estate received a major leader of the Catholic party in the struggles of the 30 Years' War, General Jan from Werth, who added the northern Baroque wing to the chateau. His successor, Ignác Zigmund of Klenova, a lover of art and music, enabled the brothers Francis and George Anthony Benda to achieve significant compositional and interpretive achievements, especially on Prussian soil. He also decorated the castle park with sculptures made by Matthias Bernhard Braun and František Adamek. In the years 1844 to 1847, the young Bedřich Smetana worked as a music teacher for the Leopold Thun Hohenstein family. The last owner, Count Kinsky, sold an essentially empty chateau to the town in 1920. During the occupation in 1944, Nové Benátky, Staré Benátky, and Obodrž all merged together, creating today's town of Benátky nad Jizerou. Later on, Dražice and Kabel also merged with the others to form one town. The town became a natural center of the southern part of Mladá Boleslav. In addition, its size increased significantly by incorporating part of Milovice Mladá military area after the withdrawal of the Soviet army in 1991. The most important historical site is undoubtedly the previously mentioned Benátky Chateau. The oldest Renaissance part of the castle was built between 1527 and 1572 and is decorated with lettering and very valuable figural graffiti. After several other building phases, the construction of the castle was finally finished in the middle of the 18th century. On the second floor of the chateau is a regional museum which houses expositions of the most significant Benátky natives and other personalities who stayed in the castle. It enjoys the Tycho Brahe Hall, with an interactive exposition with replicas of contemporary astronomical instruments and a marked local meridian. Also worth mentioning is the exposition of Jaroslav Vancel, a native of Benátky and the inventor of Merkur building sets. The museum features a wide range of interactive exhibits, making it a truly exciting experience. The private toy museum of Jiří Fiala is located on the ground floor of the chateau. Since 1999, when it was first opened to the public, the exhibition has been visited by thousands of people from all corners of our country, as well as a large number of tourists from around the world. The collection, dating from 1860 to 1945, presents various toys from Europe, the United States of America, and many toys from Japan. Its dolls' rooms and houses are very elaborate, down to the smallest details. These rooms are rare in Japan itself and are unique in Europe. There has never actually been a train connection to Benátky nad Jizerou, but since 2008 it has been possible to admire toy train sets in the fictional picturesque countryside in Benátky nad Jizerou station. In the cellars of the chateau, there's a lapidarium where there are original Baroque sculptures which used to be located in the town. All of them were restored before being shown in the exhibitions because the very soft sandstone that they were made of began to fall apart after more than 200 years. Among other things, there is a plague cross dated around 1680 and a statue of the Nursing Virgin Mary from 1717. The already mentioned Church of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary was founded together with the Syriac Monastery in 1349 by Jan of Dražice. The opulent Gothic sanctuary, consecrated in 1359, was originally higher, but when the adjoining monastery was devastated, it was severely damaged and probably only temporarily repaired in the period of the Pope. Around 1702, a temple nave was extended, and a Baroque tower with a gallery was added to the west, with a beautiful view of the surrounding countryside. In the crypt underneath the church, some owners of the Benátky dominion are buried. Around the chateau is a park with a viewing terrace surrounded by 5 gates, of which 3 are functional. The whole park is delicately restored. In the former farm buildings, in the northern part of the complex, there's an info center with expositions of bison and wild horses. In the Baroque part of the Chateau Park, there's orangery and a fountain. In the park there are a number of sculptures, Bedřich Smetana's bust and a World War I memorial. The Plaich area, adjacent to the castle park, complements the newly adapted historic house and outdoor podium. The vineyard, which belongs to the Mělník wine region, is an inherent part of the town. These vineyards on the slopes above Oberdrž have been documented since 1403. The most widespread variety of wine in this region is Rulanské Modré, originally imported for Charles IV from Burgundy as a gift to Mělník burghers for the service to the king. Now the most cultivated are Modrý Portugal, Rulanský Šedé, and Müller Turgau. In Benátky nad Jizerou, the vineyards disappeared for a time and were replaced by the park and orchards. Only after 1991 did Jiří Urban restore the vineyards under the castle, an area of about 1.5 hectares. Today, the vineyard is looked after by the Lang family. The preserved layout and layout of the medieval Nové Benátky, together with the castle grounds with the park, vineyards, and other monuments, including sculptural decoration, were the reason for being added to the town's monument zone in 1990. There are several monuments on the Husovo Square, which are located close to the chateau. Worth mentioning is the Chapel of the Holy Family, which was built after 1720 by Count Ignác Zigmund of Klenova. Throughout history, the chapel was used for a variety of purposes. At present, there is a prayer hall of the Czechoslovak Hussite Church. A number of fires that had affected Benátky nad Jizerou in earlier times are the reason why only a few buildings have since been preserved. Most residential buildings have been rebuilt several times. Among the most interesting burghers' houses is number 59, also known as the Fish, sometimes called the Blue Carp, named after the symbol found in the stucco of the house. It is a two-story building with an arbor built around 1720. Between 1926 and 1928, the so-called District House was built on the western side of Husovo Square by the design of the prominent architect Jizerou EN. The monumental structure, bordering on Cubo-Futurism and Constructivism, is complemented by the sculptural decoration of Karel Dvořák. On the first floor, there is a permanent exhibition devoted to the personality and work of architect Jizerou EN and the exhibition hall. The latest element on Husovo Square is the astronomical fountain by Pavel Mundrunka, who is also the author of the design of the reconstruction of the whole square, realized in 2009 and 2010. Near the square at the former town wall, built at the end of the 16th century, is the Church of Saint Mary Magdalene. Its major reconstruction took place after the town fire in 1664. A new decorative Baroque facade with pilasters was built. Close to the church, there is the Sokol Hall, which was built during 125 days in the year 1907 by the Nové Benátky Sports Union. The Sokol Union remains active and has more than 400 members. The first sacred building on the territory of today's Benátky nad Jizerou was at the site of the Church of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. The perhaps timbered building collapsed in 1761, and 3 years later a new stone church was built in simple Rococo style. Dražice Castle lies less than 3 kilometers north of the town center, and its construction started around 1264 by the courtier of Žehník from Litovice. The appearance of the castle was significantly affected by his son, the last Prague bishop, Jan IV. In the 16th century, the then owner of the Bedřich Donin castle moved to a newly built chateau in Benátky nad Jizerou, and the castle was gradually deserted. Jan IV from Dražice founded the Church of St. Martin around 1340, which was initially dedicated to St. Ludmila and is located near the castle. Gothic paintings have been preserved in the presbytery of the church. Of course, the city of Benátky nad Jizerou does not live only in history. It is unbelievable how many events take place during the year and how many cultural, sporting, and other interest clubs there are. Let's just take a look at some of them. One of the oldest film festivals in Bohemia, Benátky Film Amateurs, is well known throughout the country. In 2017, its 56th year will be celebrated. Contests have a high standard and some amateurs become professionals over time. Cultural events in Benátky nad Jizerou are interconnected, so when the May Day Fair, town ball, or exhibition take place, it's an opportunity to showcase the art of other associations. There are several theater ensembles in Benátky nad Jizerou: Sokol Theater Association, Cafe Mlene, Vasilishek Theater, and Puppet Theater Rolnička. The pupils at the elementary art school of Jiří Antonín Benda also have a high reputation. Whether it's a dramatic ensemble, a dance ensemble, a music ensemble, or a solo instrument player. In the regional museum at the chateau and in the Jiří Kroha Museum, you can visit interesting expositions, and in addition, there are several exhibitions held every year. Also, there are regular concerts by Friends of Arts Club, and in the summer season there are also concerts in the Lodinice Club. Listing all the sports clubs, sports grounds, and significant achievements would take up a complete TV program. So let's just take a look at a few of them. The active Sokol organization is still active in the town. From the traditional sports, there's an ice hockey club with a winter stadium, which is also used by the short track speeding skate club and the public skating. There's an extensive summer stadium area with a normal grass football field, a football field with artificial grass, volleyball courts, beach volleyball courts, and football tennis courts. Tennis can be played on outdoor courts and in the tennis hall. Badminton has its own hall. There's also a large sports hall in the town that is used by the volleyball extra league team and is also a gym for the primary school. The variety of sports clubs is complemented by water slalom, motocross, cyclocross, or inline skating with its own sloping track.
Další flex. Tenhle se spojíš a spíš.
It is also worth mentioning the sport dance competition. In 2019, it will be celebrating its 40th year. Near the town, there is a golf resort with a 9-hole and 18-hole golf course. There is a big yearly celebration of sport and the annual announcement of the best sportsmen.
Třetí místo Magdalena Erbenová, druhé místo Aneta Havlíčková, vítěz ankety Radim Šimek.
The life of the town's ordinary inhabitants is fully in line with the European standard. Education begins in kindergarten, which brings together several objects. There are 3 modernly equipped primary schools in the city. It does not forget even the older people who are served by 2 retirement homes. There is a polyclinic in the town and a sufficient network of dental, practical, and pediatric doctors, shops, services, and restaurants. There's also a public library in the town. In the open spaces, we find parks suitable for walking and sporting activities for children and seniors. Many people live in a refurbished panel housing estate or in extensive family houses. Gradually, other sites have been built. Thanks to the highway, it is possible to quickly reach Prague, Mladá Boleslav, or even Liberec. People can go there for culture, sport, or work. However, in Benátky nad Jizerou, there are enough job opportunities. The oldest companies include Carborundum Electric, with more than 100-year history of producing grinding wheels. There is also Cooperative of Dražice, part of the Naib Group, which is the largest manufacturer of water heaters in the Czech Republic. East of Benátky nad Jizerou, the industrial zone has grown, with Bilsing Automation Czech and Japan's UACJ Czech Extrusion being the most significant. Close to the industrial zone, there is an extensive AVA waste management complex. It is one of the largest municipal waste dumps in the Czech Republic, which also includes a recycling line for the collection and processing of biogas.
Throughout the year, countless larger or smaller events take place in Benátky nad Jizerou. Let's just mention the biggest ones. We can start with the traditional New Year's fireworks, which people come from across the country to see. The beginning of the year includes the formal ball season and the prestigious town ball. The most frequented events include the May Day Fair and the Chateau celebrations. There are two events related to wine and vineyards. The first is the Benátky Hrozen, a professional wine tasting competition, followed by an exhibition of wines and a tasting for the public. In the autumn, there is a tasting of new wine. The town of Benátky nad Jizerou is also a member of the International New Wine Union, based in Hustopeče, which is, by the way, the sister town of Benátky nad Jizerou. Other sister towns are the German Rosdorf and Reinsdorf and the Slovak town Modra, also known for their long-standing tradition of grape growing. We can close the year with the ceremonial lighting of the Advent tree.
Naše delegace z partnerských měst, z Rosdorfu a z Modré, měnujeme si skauty a školní mládež při sportovních kláních.
Social events are, of course, not only for local residents, but also for tourists from both Bohemia and the rest of the world. In addition to historical buildings, there are also natural attractions. Among the most beautiful are the areas of the windy Jizera River between Dražice and the village Horky nad Jizerou. The Jizera water meadow was revitalized on the territory of the town. New flood protection measures have also been developed. A number of cycle paths cross the town, and inline paths are also nearby. There's also a renewal of historic paths. An entirely unique and attractive project is the effort of using large unglets to maintain and cultivate steps in the former military space. In Benátky nad Jizerou, at a former gun range,
There are herds of bison and wild horses from Exmoor. Thanks to long-term stability in the town's leadership and the realization of visions of Benátky nad Jizerou, they are thriving year after year. There is so much to offer in every season. Come and see.